Do you guys think I should watch this Everything Wrong with Black Desert video? Okay, chat wants me to watch it. Mom, I'm on TV. Oh, Oni, is this your video? It is Onizilla, but I don't know if that's you or not. I encourage people to make videos like this. Not necessarily like, oh, we're going to doom on the game. If you like the game too, you should make videos. I'm encouraging my community to, if you have something to say about the game, or you have an opinion on something, life skilling, the game at large, your class, large PvP, PvE, life skilling, whatever, make a video about it and submit it in my Discord. And then I get to watch it. And then you get to platform your idea and see what other people think about it. And you have a chance that the devs are able to see your feedback. Poggers. It's really not hard. You're like, I don't know how to record. Download OBS Studio. Click the record button. It's not hard. Set up your mic. Set up your visuals. Just sit there and talk. It's not hard. All right, Oni.
Black Desert is an old game. It's been out for almost a decade now. And honestly,
released in the West 2016.
It had its fair share of ups and downs. So today, I'm gonna highlight everything I feel is wrong with the game. And maybe, just a little tiny maybe, like I'm talking to a goddamn brick wall. PA will listen and might fix few of them. Maybe?
That's exactly what I live on every single day.
And yes, before anyone asks, I'll be doing most of this while AFK fishing because, let's be real, that's basically the most authentic Black Desert experience there is right now. So let's kick things off with probably the biggest reason Black Desert end up feeling boring and less like a real MMO and more like a single player game with a chat box. Because that's
single player game with a chat box. So true.
That's the only thing you'll be interacting with the moment you actually install the game. And that thing is called group content. PA in one of the previous, I believe, Calphion Ball or Heidel Ball, they claimed they added plenty of group content.
That was probably the most egregious thing I've ever heard them say in a dev note. And I've heard some pretty shit. I've heard some pretty dumbass stuff come out of their mouths in those dev notes. That was without a doubt the craziest statement I've ever heard. We feel that we focused too much on group content recently. And all of us are like, wait, what? Oh my God. It was like the double take of a lifetime.
And now they're moving forward with only solo stuff. But
they didn't kill the game. They just changed it.
We need to ask ourselves a serious question here. Have they really tried any of the group content? Have they?
No, because no one in Korea plays the game. They have no one to play with.
Grinded there? Tested the silver in those zones? Did they even see how terrible all of them
reported? You know what? Suck my dick.
are, except for Olin's Dekia 2? Most of the group grind spots are either totally deserted or offer such a shitty silver that you basically just roleplay.
Why do you talk so slow? Oni replied with mental illness. I respect it. I respect, you know, like, at least he's honest. That's our boy. That's crazy.
With your friends at this point, you're just taking them there for a roleplay. The whole group grind zones feel awful, other than Dekia 2 Olins. That's the only zone.
I have this like sneaking, this is totally off topic, I'm sorry. I have this sneaking suspicion that everybody that plays BDO at some point was playing it because they were overwhelmingly depressed with their real life. And the game was a tremendously good outlet for them to just dive into things and forget about the world. Crazy. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Right? There's got to be something like mentally wrong with us. You know.
You can play with your friends. Alright, so since PA said we have a lot of group content, I'm gonna go at them one by one from early game to mid game to end game group content. and we're gonna talk about
All right, we know all this
So
stuff.
let's start with the early.
This is a 48-minute video. I'm gonna skip. We know this, right? Mid-game group. Okay, so we know early game group. You know what? Yeah, let him play.
Game spots. Let's start with Basilic Den, Mirrormore Ruins, Dragon Nest. I know most of you don't know about that spot, and Shell's Guards. Basilic Den used to be a kinda decent solo grind zone back around 6 years ago, 5 years ago.
6 years
but
ago.
then PA flipped
When it was
into
solo?
a party only without improving the rewards. On top of that, loot scrolls don't even work there anymore, so unsurprisingly the place has been just basically dead for about
I have this sneaking suspicion that the reason the devs think that group grind zones are not like the community doesn't like group grind zones is because they don't update group grind zones, and so the rewards at most of the group grind zone spots in the game are terrible, and so no one grinds there. And so when they look at the analytics, they're like, well, no one grinds at the group spots anyway. Our statistics show that across the board, the early, the mid game, and the late game players, statistically 95% of them will always grind solo spots, and they're not even going to go try the group spots. So why should we waste our time? And with these, I'm trying not to use gamer words here, but I swear to God, bro, what these idiot devs don't understand is if they just buffed the rewards for these group spots to be comparable with the other solo spots in the game, there would be a lot of people that do the solo or that do the group grind zones. They don't even need to make new group zones. They just need to buff the ones that currently exist to be even remotely reasonable. Imagine grinding Abandoned Monastery with a duo partner in 2025 and not just griefing the shit out of yourself, right? And not just going to like Honglim Base. Like, what are we even talking about?
I believe 5 years now.
Like, imagine grinding Bassy Den instead of Centaurs.
For about 5 years,
I tested it, got 290 million an hour.
that zone is just dead.
You lose money at Bassy Den, that's an improvement.
Second spot is Mirrormore Ruins. Now this one is a classic, one of my favorite grind zones since I have played the game.
And new players love doing this for the first 3 days that they're playing the game. It's awesome.
To this day.
Then you also have dents in the community that'll have a meltdown over the idea a group spot might be meta or close to it.
Yeah, like that one guy that was in the chat the one time that I literally picked apart his whole argument and he was still just like, I hate other people.
A trio grind spot.
Like, it wasn't just enough for him to be like, yeah, I want to grind solo spots. He was like, no one should ever be able to grind group grind zones. He goes, they shouldn't even be given the option. They must only be able to grind solo. I'm not joking. This is what the guy said. They must only be able to grind solo zones because if they introduce any group zones at all, it will overshadow the solo zones and then people won't want to grind solo anymore. And I was like, and why does that even matter to you as a solo grinder? Just go grind. Like, we're not asking for group grind zones to be more valuable than solo zones. Why do you even care if you're not going to play with other people? Well, then I feel obligated to play with other people. Well, what if it made slightly less but competitive money with the other zones? No, because I would still feel like I had to. No, you wouldn't. Like, I don't like these people are just deranged, bro.
Now, this gives you a chance to interact with other people, which is great. Sometimes even fight.
Choice said the same thing to the guy and he just left. Yeah, I mean, like, Choice and I agree on a lot of things. Like,
for the spots. If some of you remember all the dual force spots we used to have in the zone, good old days, which made things more live, made the game feel more alive. And now you are lucky to make 300 million silver there, which is, let's be honest, that just
sorry, it was so
laughable at this point. You just laugh at it. It's so low compared to other solo spots. So why, like, it doesn't give the player incentive to actually go and try these zones because the silver is so low. And if you want to talk about Dragon's Nest and Shell's Guard, both of them are dead zones. They might as well just rename the zones to something like Memory Lane or Forgetting Zones, so nobody gonna ever look at them ever again. Because
your standards
that's
so
where they
low,
belong,
you'd fuck
in a memory lane. Now let's start with mid game. PA did few things in Elvia where they made 2 of the Elvia grind zones a party zone, which was beautiful from them. That was such a beautiful move from them.
Yep.
But then again, that was around.
And remember how popular Castle Ruins was. I'm not going to rehash all this shit. I'm just going to let them talk. But like, remember how popular Castle Ruins was? Pepperidge Farm remembers.
4 years ago or 3 years ago. Anyway, the first zone going to be Abandoned Monastery in Calvion. If you don't know where that spot is, because most people now don't
Also, AM was popular.
even know that spot exists. Abandoned Monastery is empty now. Like, I did an hour test. You can check it in my channel, where I made 290 million silver an hour there. That's how terrible that zone is. Next zone is Altar Imps, which is Elvia Altar Imps. It's pretty much dead. You can just solo it anyway. There's no point in partying for it.
Right.
And you have Castle Ruins. This zone used to be one of my favorite. You could just grab up your friends, your guildies every day, go there.
Yep.
Gather as many mobs as you can and just grind for hours while sitting in Discord and having fun.
Yep.
And it
I remember.
used to be a very decent silver per hour. It wasn't the best, but it used to be decent. And we still did it.
That's correct. Castle Ruins was not the best silver per hour back then. It was still Orcs and Baragi were still better. Also, the monastery next door. Like Bloody Monastery. Better. But we still grinded Castle Ruins because it was competitive.
But now, nobody want to grind the zone because it's such a bad zone.
It's dog.
In a shitty spot. Okay,
Like
now we
300
move
mil an
away
hour.
from Elvia, we go to Camisylvia and we have Gyfin Temple Upper, or Upper Temple, whatever you want to call it. This one still works. Some people still grind there from time to time, only because of Forest Fury drops. That's the only reason.
Nobody grinds here. I mean, like, they do. So here's the problem with Upper Gryphon. Actually, really well done. People will do it. Problem is, people blow by the AP required for this grind zone so quickly nowadays because they give you all this free gear. It's just that they don't even stop by. Right? It used to be like you'd be at this AP DP for a while. Nope. Now you just blow straight by it. There's better grind zones you can go to with just the free gear they give you.
Why anyone will go there. Other than that, the zone is just whatever. With Agris, you can maybe, just maybe with a good team, you can make up to 1 billion silver an hour, but that
Groundbreaking.
would require some work, some pulling and some that, and you might as well just go Hunglam base at that point.
Yeah, no, again, Honglim's just better money. Although, I don't know how you be grinding Honglim with 368 AP, but...
And we have normal Olans. Now this
like, total AP.
used to be one of the best grind zones in the game at some point.
Normal Olans is the second best group grind zone in the game. Right below Dekia 2 Olans. What about Dekia 1 Olans? That's the third best grind zone for groups in the game. Yep. It actually decreases in value.
Now it moved from endgame to mid-game grind zone, which now barely sees any action anymore. Most players, if they want to make the same money, they will just go to Hunglam base or any grind zone with similar AP, and they will make better money there. Which, it's very sad. So sad.
It's super sad.
Now let's talk about endgame group content. This is where things get exciting, right? Not really. In endgame, you
Got 30
only
minutes.
have one group content. Well, technically grind group content.
We only had one in the mid game too, Olans.
Because you have Black Shrine bosses and dungeons. We'll get to that later. The only one you have as a group content in endgame is Olin's Dekia 2. Now, Olin's Dekia 2 is still decent silver, not the best out of all the endgame grind zones, but it's still decent. Some people still grind it, some people not really that happy with the silver, but they still grind it because, you know, they want to play with friends. But yeah, that's the only endgame group grind content.
He plays Awakening
Now,
DK!
Group content
Hoggers!
for endgame, we still have Black Shrine bosses, which is are really cool and fun fights, but they are all locked behind weekly limits. You kill them once a week. You take around like what? With a good group, you take around 15 minutes to finish them all. 15,
No, it's like 30 minutes to an hour for sure.
40 minutes to finish them all. And that's it with your friends. You're done for that.
Maybe once you've already all grouped up, gotten in Discord, buffed up, and are ready to go, if you start the timer when you hit start, maybe 15. If you don't wipe a single time.
Work with your friends. Just 14 to 15 minutes. Now the same goes with the dungeons. The dungeons will not take you that long if you all are geared and know what you're doing. And both the dungeons and the shrine are weekly limited. So
Yep.
you are like, let's say, let's give them the benefit of the doubt and say each, like the shrine and the dungeons, both take 20 minutes. That's 40 minutes a week. Be spending with your friends just playing the game. Just 40 minutes. I don't know what to say about it. Is 40 minutes enough to play a game with your friends for a whole week?
Normally, yes. For Black Desert Online, absolutely not. Normally, for any game, you're like, okay, yeah, 40 minutes. You know, for like World of Warcraft, you spend like 40 minutes with your friends, you do the raid, you're done, right? But for Black Desert Online, it's a very specific type of game. We like long-term progression and grinding. So if you've got a long-term progression grind game where people are trying to spend 50 plus hours a week grinding and they feel like they can only do 40 minutes of it with a group, it feels like shit.
Now you might be wondering, why
Night-night, Medical First.
does this matter? Why do I care so much about group content? Well, Black Desert is supposed...
Don't stop talking about this. Thank you, Oni, for bringing this up, by the way. This is the Epstein files of BDO, guys. If you stop talking about group content, they will never release group content. If you constantly hound them about this all the time, and honestly, I'm going to be calling for a no Pearl November from people over this shit. I think that straight up they be forced to make this changes. Instead of no nut November, I would encourage my audience to nut as much as you want. Instead, no Pearl November until we get what we want.
Supposed to be an MMO. That M stands for massively multiplayer. But the game rewards solo grinding so heavily, like playing with your friends feel more.
That's so true. Every time you're going to go buy pearls in Black Desert Online, guys, just go jack off. And then come back and see if you still want to spend pearls. The post-nut clarity is insane.
More like a chore than a choice. Because why do I want to play with my friends if I'm making, let's say, 1 billion less or 2 billion less than me grinding solo? I'm just wasting my time.
Yep.
Specifically at early game and end game. Almost all the group grind zones we have right now is just outdated and dead content.
Well, they wouldn't be dead content if they just buffed the rewards at the grind zone. They're actually well designed. Castle Ruins, Abandoned Monastery, even Turos was well designed too. Like, any of the, just pick one, Bassi Den, Wergon's Nest, just buff the rewards. It's not hard.
While the devs never looked at them, never mentioned them, or said anything about reworking them. And the other group content we have is
They don't need to rework them, bro.
behind weeklies. Now people will say because the lack of group content and the lack of new updates will call the game dead. I will not go as far as calling it dead, but I will call it boring. The game is still active, but it's insanely boring right now. And when you limit the interaction between players, this will lead to a very, very boring game. Now you might be wondering, if group content is such a big issue, how do we fix it? Now I'll be putting some suggestions right now. If you disagree with me, that's totally fine. You can just type your suggestion in the comments and see what we can agree and disagree on. So here is how I feel we can actually fix group content in the game.
Okay.
Now the first one gonna be a bit of a hot one. So,
Oh
prepare
God.
your
Bro, your gear sucks. Oni, what the are you wearing? Wait, you're terrible at this video game. What the You tagged your fallen god at base? You realize you have to enhance these, right? Like they're not just done once you turn them in. You have to actually tap them.
what is that thing called? Pitchforks. Yeah, so prepare your pitchforks.
This is an ancient clip. I don't care. I don't care how old this clip is. This is but at no point in Black Desert history would you have turned in your C10 dim tree or red nose. In this case, it probably would have been red nose for your fallen god and then said, that's it. All done. Okay? I don't...
what is that thing called? Pitchforks. Yeah, so prepare your pitchforks. First, the rewards. Group grand zones need to pay more than solo zones. Now, wait before you do...
No.
Just like the video,
No, you can't do that. Okay, I'll let him talk.
Wait. If I am... Just hear me out. If I am coordinating with 2 or 3 players, it should feel worth my time because we are more people. We work in more brain cells, right?
We're working more brain cells is crazy work.
Increasing our silver more than the solo zones by like, let's say 5 to 10%. Not by an insane amount. Just 5%. 5%, 10%. Make us make more... around 100 mil more, 150 mil more than solo grind zones. Will make not only our time worth it, but it will also incentivize other players to actually try group content. Second one, revamp dead zones. Let's take a look at the old zones. Why are we not looking at them? Why are we not reworking them? Why are we not fixing them? Places like Basilic Den, which is a party zone right now for new players, should yield at least 500 mil, if not more.
I'm gonna let him finish his thoughts here, and then I'm gonna give my opinion on all of this. Okay, but I will say that I fundamentally, wholeheartedly disagree with the first part of his argument here. But we'll get to it later.
Considering they have to work on the deck to Vala, it should yield up to 1 billion, I say. Let them make money. They need a lot of money to begin with. Or Miramo Ruins. Those two is essential group content for new players. If a new player sees these zones are one of the best, the game will be flooded with parties, looking for parties to grind these zones, looking for duel for spot. It will make people interact with each other more, have fun with each other more. Let new players make friends and enemies. This is how you motivate a player to gear up, to...
You're not making any enemies in PvE.
Try to be stronger in the game, or to even get...
Well, most of the time, you're not making enemies in PvE. Most of the time.
...to PvP. At this point, there's zero reason for a new player to bother gearing up other than kill more mobs, which is really sad. Third point. We need to cut back on weekly locks. We already have so many weekly stuff.
Okay, so he's done with... Okay, all right. First point he made was that group grind zones should make more money than solo grind zones. I've been with the BDO community for a long time, and part of the reason that people enjoy my content is that I have a very strong pulse. I have my finger on the pulse of the community on these issues. The only way we ever make headway and actually get group grind zones fixed is if we have the entire community united on this issue. You need the support, the full support of just like the overwhelming super majority of players need to be behind you on an issue if you're going to get any amount of change, right? Just because Baldy says it on his stream doesn't mean they're going to change something. Just because Choice does it doesn't mean they're going to change something, etc. You need everyone on board. And if you say you're advocating for group grind zones to make more money than solo zones, you will immediately lose at least 60% of the PvEers that play Black Desert Online. Guaranteed. You will lose the support of over half the PvE community in that, and in so doing, you kill the entire movement. It just won't work. I actually do agree with the idea that if group grind zones made slightly more than solo grind zones, it would encourage people to group up, interact with each other, make friends, and it would encourage people to...
Zones shouldn't even exist. You should be able to party up anywhere, anytime. Just make a Dekia lantern spawn somewhere in the zone when you party up. Easy.
So, you're... And so what he's saying, guys, this guy's a idiot. This guy's a moron. And so what he said was group grind zones shouldn't even exist. And then he went on to say that they should just be everywhere. So they should exist and they should be everywhere. Okay, so you said that they shouldn't exist and then immediately contradicted yourself in the second part of the statement. Part of the reason that you guys trust me to give the feedback is because you literally can't form sentences because you're American and didn't make it through public school. Okay, like it was too hard for you and you just, you the drool. It was too much. Like you sniffed so much glue in school that your teachers thought that your family had stock in Elmer's or something straight up though. Now I'm going to be honest with you. I think that he's not wrong. Like fundamentally it would help people group up, make friends, etc. But I think that you lose the support of the PvE community when you do that. I think that most PvEers are on board with the idea of buffing group grind zones to make competitive silver. Not necessarily more silver, but within about 100-ish million an hour, right? Lower than solo spots, but not that much lower, right? Like about 100 mil, but the solo spots are still a little bit more efficient than the group spots. And most people can get on board with that because most people want to be able to grind solo most of the time. Even myself, when I go out, I want to be able to grind solo the vast majority of the time. I don't want to have to go find a group every single time I want to go out, but I do sometimes want to be able to do that, right? And people don't want to feel forced to do that. And so, like, I just disagree with his point there. I do think that, I mean, you guys can let me know what you think on it, but like, I think that personally, I think they should just buff the group grind zones to be about 100 mil less per hour than the strongest grind zone at that particular AAP DP level, and I think it would be fine. Black Desert has fallen so far from what the real MMORPG should be that it's almost embarrassing. The state of the game is so miserable that players are being forced to beg for content that should already exist as a basic part of the experience. It stopped being a PvP game a long time ago.
Zones shouldn't exist. Everyone should be forced to fish. $1 bill an hour or bust.
Now it's nothing more than an online casino disguised as an MMO. Designed only to push players to spending money on cronstones and gambling mechanics instead of offering real gameplay and meaningful progression. Let me finish his point here, and then I'm going to address that. So his second point was that, like, because group grind zones require more thought and effort and coordination, they should make more money. No, that's not how it works. Like, that by the same token, Awakening Kunoichi should make more silver per hour than a Succession Guardian per hour. Because it's more work. Because it's harder work, right? It's more APM. It's harder work. So the Kuno should make more than the Guardian. Right? I think that the Guardians would like to have a word. Okay? So, like, you can't really base your argument off of how hard it is to necessarily coordinate the spot. I mean, like, maybe a little bit. You can adjust it a little bit based on that, but you can't make it worth more money because it's a group spot. It just won't work. I forget what his second point was.
In the game, or
rework the old grind zones. Yeah, I mean, like, that's all they really have to do to fix it. Now, it's fallen so far from what an MMO experience it should be that it's embarrassing. Well, to be clear, I think that a lot of people come to BDO because it's not an MMO, like the other girls. Okay, BDO is the MMO for players that hate MMOs. Okay, and I say that as like the BDO guy. All right, people that play BDO don't like the other MMOs in most cases. A ton of people that play BDO will only play BDO as an MMO and absolutely no other MMOs. So, like, part of the reason that it appeals to a lot of players is because it's not like the other girls. Its combat system is a perfect example of this. But the state of the game is miserable. Players feel forced to beg for content that should already exist. This is 100% totally valid statement. Yep. It stopped being a game long ago. Now it's nothing more than an online casino designed as an MMO. Well, did you think that it was somehow not an online casino before? Did you remember what enhancing a dandelion felt like? Did it feel like it wasn't a casino? Because it felt to me like it was a casino. I'm just gonna be, everything in BDO has been gambling since its inception. It's not like, oh, suddenly now now you're into the thing. Now you could make the case that like, oh, well, you're forced to enhance now before you could buy your gear. No, because back in the day you were not going to be able to buy a pen dandy. You just couldn't do it. It wasn't possible. You had to make your own pen dandy. So you were basically, for all intents and purposes, required to go to the casino if you wanted to get a pen dandy. That's how it worked. Now, after a while, there was a period of a few years where it was like, okay, you could buy it because it was available on the marketplace. But like early on, it was not this way. Now, designed only to push players into spending money on cron stones and gambling mechanics instead of offering real gameplay and meaningful progression. This I would generally agree with you on. We have 100% shifted way too far towards this cron stone only enhancing, and now it feels way too pay to win. I completely agree. Yes. And they trended the correct way for a while, they handed away pets to people, inventory slots, some maids to people, never wait, but like pets and stuff, all that stuff. And now they don't, like they gave us all that stuff, but it's still not worth it because you still need to spend a bunch of money. People feel like they need to spend money on grindstones, right? So.
To even get into PvP. At this point, there's zero reason for a new player to bother getting up other than kill more mobs, which is really sad. Third point, we need to cut back on weekly locks.
If I make 2.5 billion an hour and the group spot made 2.7 billion, that's fine. 200 mil, is it going to make me feel bad or change my routine? But it would be exciting to go try out. I mean, I generally agree. It wouldn't bother me at all, but it would bother players. It would 100% bother players. It would. Like, I think that because you need to understand that when a grind zone is the best grind zone in the game, and you guys have experienced this, so I don't even need to ask you if you've seen this before. When you see the best grind zone in the game, how many people gaslight you into thinking you're making way more silver per hour there than you actually are? Right? So, like, people will be like, yeah, I make 5 bill an hour at Zephyros Castle. Right? No, they're not. No, you're not. Maybe for 1 hour you could do that if you got a good hour. Yeah. But then you're out of Agris and you're not making 5 bill an hour anymore. Right? And so inevitably what people will do, if it's only 100 mil better, what the community will do is, well, my group's making 500 mils more silver per hour than you. Right? And you know that that's what would happen. 100%. There would be some elitist shitlord cucks that would ruin it for the rest of us because they have to gaslight everybody into thinking they're making way more silver per hour all the time than you are at your solo spots, which is going to make you think that you're wasting your time at the solo spots, and so you have to go to the group spots, and that's how it starts. And that's on the community. That part do be on the community, like 100%. That's why group grind zones, they also fluctuate in efficiency. So you need to put their average like at least 100 mil or 200 mil lower an hour than the solo spots, because some groups are going to be overly efficient, and you really don't want those players like outperforming the solo players in a substantial way. If they're able to make like 300 or 400 mil an hour than the average players, well, then they're only making 100 or 200 mil more an hour than the solo grinder, right? And then like that's like stomachable. But if they make more already, they're gonna claim that they're making 500 mil to a bill, right? Imagine not making 100 billion silver an hour. God, you guys are so based. I love you guys. I love having trained the community to just gaslight everybody. Like when somebody comes in here try to gaslight about numbers, you just run them down. Guys, I'm making 50k trash loot an hour at Darkseeker's Retreat. I make 50k trash loot an hour at Darkseeker's Retreat, guys. How much do you guys make? 76k, 108 no aggress. Only 50, 51, 100k on a bad day. Only 50? That's 80 out. I love you guys. Yes! Yes! Bro, that's how you do it. Even YouTube's got it, baby. 70k trash or Zekin, no aggress, easy. There it is, baby. If somebody comes to you with some stupid ass flex about how much silver per hour they're making at their grind zone, you run them down. Add 5k and then say you don't use Agris and ask them if they had their alchemy stone on. Holy shit, run them down. Run them down.
Already have so many weekly stuff.
They're lying to you. You lie to them. No problem. You're doing them the favor. Just do them the favor.
We need to do weekly bosses, then two of the weekly shrine bosses, the group and the solo. We have to do the group solo.
85k blue loot scroll, no Agris. That's a crazy statement.
The solo Idania boss. We have dungeon weekly. We have Elezra weekly. Just two.
Oh, the Elezra weekly, dude. I haven't even killed Elezra for the main story because I did all of the dungeon quest lines on my witch back in the day, and so in order to get to Elezra, I have to go do it on my witch, and I can't do it on my dark knight. So to do it on my dark knight, I have to literally go do all of the dungeon quest lines, start to finish, on my DK, which is moronic. These moron devs, if you've done it on one character, it should auto-complete for the other characters. And sure, if you want to repeat it on the other characters, you should be able to. But you should be able to complete it on your other characters. It should be a family-wide completion thing. Why do we not have this yet? I just don't get it. It just doesn't make any sense. Not sure you can do the weekly on any character. Oh, well, I mean, I haven't done the Elezra main story yet. I haven't done the Elezra main story yet. The weekly is harder than the main story, is my understanding. Like, a lot harder. We did it when it came out, and I got her to, like, I don't know, 30% or whatever on, like, the third try. And then I was like, all right, I'm done with this. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm sure I could complete it if I put my mind to it, but I don't care enough. I don't give a shit. It doesn't. What does doing Elezra every week actually do for you? What are the rewards for Elezra? Does it give you some debos or some stupid shit again? Dungeons in BDO is depressing. Yeah, because they haven't updated them in forever. It gives you a base debo most of the time. Yeah, I can't be. The boss fight takes like 20 minutes. I make better silver than that just grinding Zephyros without Agris. Like, why the would I bother? It's a rolly box for a single earring. Yeah, that, bro.
How many weeklies? We need to really cut down on weekly stuff. We need to add some raids to the game, some type of group dungeons.
Oh my god, dude. They were going to make the group boss blitz. They were going to make that a guild thing, guys. They said that they were going to make it a 20-man raid. How sick would that have been? Oh my god. Now, in fairness, making them group bosses was good. They take baby steps. But now I don't think that they're even going to try the raid thing.
Where you can just rerun them with a set of rewards where it becomes a habit to group up with other people. Not only once a week, but once every day or a few times every day to have fun with people. I'm not asking we make it the best silver per hour. It could compete maybe with the group grind zones or maybe a bit less, but we need something like that where it makes it a habit to group up with other people. We used to have it in Altar of Blood, but sadly that's gone now.
No, we used to have group up with other people in PvP. Now that's gone.
And lastly, we need to add more group grind zones to endgame.
True.
In endgame, you only have Olin's Dekia 2 as a grind zone. In early game, you have 4 grind zones. In mid game, you have 6. If you count both normal Olin's and Dekia 1 Olin's. But end game is the only one that have one grind zone for some reason. And they are refusing to give us any more grind zones.
Did somebody earlier ask why this guy talks so slowly? He plays Guardian. This is how Guardian players talk. They're just as laggy IRL as they are in-game. That's why they're playing Guardian. They're like mentally deficient.
We need more grind zones in endgame that
It's low APM in game, low words per minute out of game. That's how it works.
Caters to parties.
Give him a
Please,
second.
I'm begging you at this point. I'm on my knees.
He's slow and deliberate about everything he's saying. Okay, like he gets through it.
He's, what his name? Jae-hee Kim. Jae-hee Kim's dick.
I'm sorry, I zoned out for like 2 seconds. iPod, you've been rambling. What was that last bit again?
More grind zones in endgame that caters to parties. Please, I'm begging you at this point. I'm on my knees about to suck Jae-hee's, what his name? Jae-hee Kim. Jae-hee Kim's dick.
Dude, I had somebody ask me one time if I would suck somebody's dick for $2 million. And I was like, motherfucker, you could have removed a 0 or 2. Like, straight up. I'd suck Jay's dick so well that would never want for a wife in his life again. I would ruin him for women. Straight up. Just give me the group grind zones we've been asking for the last, like, 2 years.
The second one is one of the biggest problem I believe BDO has is the massive gear gap.
I don't know what you mean. I think you mean True.
It's a huge difference between new players and us veteran players who already have it all. And honestly, for anyone just...
The worst part is if you're a veteran player and you got your cron stones like before like a year and a half ago, they were cheaper. You were able to snipe every single one of your cron stones off the central market. And even if you did buy them from the vendor, they were only 2 million from the vendor. Now they're 3 million from the vendor, and it costs even more cron stones to get where the rest of us are at.
starting out, it just feels depressing. Like upgrading from your starter gear.
AI maids are not ready. They're not ready to be getting... Okay. You know what I'm mentally preparing for? What I hope we get with AI maids is the ability to train my maid to be the S tier goon hentai anime magnet of the universe. I hope that she's able to talk to me with a breathy voice and care about me the way that the anime girls care about me. Okay? The way that, like, when you see a Wuthering Waves or a Genshin Impact character look at you and you're like, God damn, like you feel softer on the inside, you feel better about that. You're like, oh, I feel gentle now because she's like there for you. That's what I want out of my maid. Okay, that's what I want out of my maid. What I'm going to get out of my maid is, hey Siri, how do I get to the enhancement window? Okay, let me check that. You need to hit the left arrow on your keyboard, and then enhancement window will open. I hope that this was a helpful and informative guide. Thank you for spending pearls. Hey, Siri, do you love me? Siri? Siri? That's what you're going to get. Okay? I'm mentally preparing for what I want versus what we're going to get. Okay? What we want, and when they said AI maids, we were all thinking the same thing. Holy shit. It's about to be the goon apocalypse up in here. I'm here for it, right? Like, that's what we was all there for. Like we get it, right? But, like, what we're going to get is the maid is going to be able to help you with some primitive shit with like guides and shit in the game where you're like, how do I horse train? And they're going to be like, okay, here's a link to our horse training guide on the website or whatever, or some stupid shit. And that's going to be it. That's all it's going to be it. That's going to be it. Like, that's what we're going to get. I'm mentally preparing for that right now. It is. I think that the AI maids are going to be the largest disappointment of the entire year. Guaranteed. I almost guarantee it's the largest disappointment of the whole year, content-wise, which is impressive.
All the way to the top stuff and just...
When is it coming? Well, we were supposed to be coming in our maids today or tonight. It's supposed to be before the end of October. We're supposed to be coming in maids. but we don't know if it's actually the maids are going to be coming before the end of October.
Take some time if you want to get like this.
Yeah, if they come ever. Like we're just never gonna be coming. Like they're never gonna come.
Sovereign weapons, Khazard gear. Those takes quite some time to get, and silver on top of that. So you need to treat BDO like a full-time job and grind every day.
No. You need to treat BDO like a full-time job and go get a full-time job so that you can fund BDO. That's it. All right, that's why it's a full-time job. Just go get a full-time job, order some DoorDash, whatever, come back, you're cooking, bro. Make the maid act like blue. Dude, can you imagine if you could set the maid, if there were like maid presets and you could have different content creators voice over your maid? Oh, God. You come into your residence expecting some warm welcome. You open the door, clean your room! Why is Bartali Log still not done? Get out! Bro, like, it would be so good. Oh, man. So many memories. So many memories.
That can feel so overwhelming
I'd
for new
make my
players.
maid the girliest little slut ever and put your voice on her.
That's crazy. You need Jesus. Seek help.
Now, new players do get some catch-up options. Like they get a deck to Vala gear, deck to Vala weapons, and
I love
also,
deck.
I believe a deck accessories.
We
and
love
they
deck.
get a free pen black star. They can turn that deck to Vala weapon into a pen black star, and the deck to Vala gear can be turned into an armor, Fallen God armor, which is actually a tri Fallen God armor that I need to mention, which is actually pretty good. And you even get a free pen black star, a Tet black star with it. Those are free. And the deck Tuvala can be turned into a Tet Khazard.
All right. I understand the point that he's making here is that there's a gear gap in the game between the new players and the mid-game players and the end-game players. The solution is not to just give away gear for free. The solution is to buff up the amount of silver per hour that early and mid-game players make. But you can't have it both ways. Okay? So like end-game players can't have meaningful end-game progression all the time. Right? And also have new players catch up to them in a reasonable amount of time. Right? So there's like a delicate balance with gear. And they used to be able to strike this really well when we had like our original dev team, but we don't have the original dev team. I almost guarantee it anymore. It's just not the same people. Like all those people have to be gone by now. There's just no way. So like, yeah, there is a gear gap discrepancy, but I'll be honest with you, the best way to fix that is to just buff the mid-game grind zones. Particularly mid-game grind zones need to be buffed up to almost 50 to 60% of what they're making silver per hour right now. And to be clear, they'd still be making way less silver per hour than end-game players. Like way less. Like over 1 billion silver an hour less.
Of your choice, of course. But there's an issue with those. I mentioned a lot of free stuff, but technically...
Okay. We gotta get through this. Hold on. How did he say he was gonna fix the gear gap? Hold on. Let me see what his suggestions for the gear gap were.
See, how can we fix this? How do we make it easier, more fun for everyone to catch up? First thing, gear progression needs to be more accessible. Right now there is too much reliance on super expensive items. For example, for new players, you need Chrome Stones and Sharps in order to enhance the deck to Vala armor and weapon. And each of them could cost up to 30 billion silver each. So we need to reduce that. There is no point in letting a new player use Chrome Stones on a bloody Tuvala armor or a weapon. Take that away. Don't make it guaranteed, sure, make it like some stupid ass percentage. Don't make it downgrade as well. And also reduce the sharp amount you need for those items. A new player is already suffering enough. Why are we letting them waste their materials? They're gonna need clone stones for later upgrades. And also reduce the amount of dawn essence they need, or essence of dawn they need for their Tet Khazard. 90 is a bit too much. Reduce that to 50. Put it between 40 or 50. Because you expecting someone who is grinding 200 to 400 mil an hour to get 9 billion silver? Are you mad? Do you expect new players to grind 9 hours a day? And this might be a hot take, but give new players a second Khazard accessory.
It's not the worst idea, but that's already coming with the ball. I guarantee you that the ball is going to be like, here's a new Khazard for free. Guaranteed. Wait, what the f did he just do?
Give new players a second Khazard accessory.
So hard to progress. It's so hard. It's a hard thing.
This might be a hot take. I know some people might disagree with me. I have a few friends who I talked
So
about it and they
hard.
disagreed with me on.
Also, what is it with you and not enhancing your chess piece? Are you some kind of... Of course you are. We had this problem before. I told you about this before. You can't handle it. You're so stupid. Buddy, it's not done. You have to put this at deck. You have to keep enhancing this. It keeps going.
But I truly believe giving them a second Khazard accessory will help them greatly. And second, and oh boy, I can't wait for the whales to come and have a fist fight with me. We have to fix the Chrome Stone problem. Now, before you pick up the fist fight with me, we have to fix the Chrome Stone problem.
Dude, I've fought on this road so many times. I've done Node War in this exact corridor so many times, dude.
Now, before you pick up the pitchforks and start threatening to burn my house, just wait a minute, please. Now, you might be wondering, so how do we fix Chrome Stones without lowering its price or make it cheaper? Well, the best fix, and that might sound insane to PA, I know. The best fix will be to give players more reliable, consistent, and enjoyable ways to earn Chrome Stones through, hear me out, normal gameplay. Right?
Nope. It would affect their bottom line. The only way to reliably reduce Cronstone usage, as I've said many times before, guys, Pearl Abyss needs to make money on the video game in order to keep the servers afloat. Okay? If you give away free Cronstones in the game, Pearl Abyss will effectively make a little less money consistently, right? One-time giveaways for Cronstones, like for the ball and stuff, that doesn't really hurt their bottom line at all. If anything, it helps people spend more money on Crons because it gets them addicted. But consistent gameplay getting Cronstones is going to lower the amount of money that Pearl Abyss is able to actually make on the game. You can't do this, okay? That's just not an effective way to do this. So you can't just be like, well, just give us daily Cronstones. It's not going to work. They're not going to do that. Instead, what you need to do is you need to give Pearl Abyss a reliable, steady source of income off of Black Desert Online that isn't Cronstones, that isn't pay to win. So you need to let them monetize the living shit out of cosmetic items. So more skins, glows for your weapons, ability, skill effect, like color changes, like weapon effect color changes, armor effect color changes, all of this kind of stuff. Like emotes, sprays, like in-game gestures, like social actions, like the dances and stuff, are big too, right? If they released a bunch of that stuff and they showed that they could monetize that stuff in a way that like they don't have to sacrifice their Cronstone income, then they can start giving us daily Cronstones, and it's not overall going to hurt their bottom line, because although people aren't paying to win as much, they're still making just as much money as they were before. They're just doing it through cosmetic items, right? Wings, backpacks, yeah, anything like that.
Just imagine daily quests or repeatable PvE content that will always reward you a decent amount of Cronstones. Now, we do have Pit of Undying that gives you a weekly of 500 Cronstones, but that's just weekly. We are talking about repeatable content that you can do all the time. So let's take an example. Let's say Altar of Blood, but every time you do Altar of Blood, depending on, let's say Altar of Blood have levels, depending on your gear. So if you do the highest level, it will gives you Crown Stones worth of what is the highest grind zone you can do, which is Zephyrus Castle, which you make around 4 billion there. So let's say, this is just an example, by the way, I'm not
Only with Agris Gold Loot Scroll.
going crazy into it. It rewards you 4 billion worth of Crown Stones, or maybe 3 or 2 billion worth of Crown Stones, just for doing this level of Altar of Blood, or any type of content like
You. You. I don't even care what you're talking about in the video right now. You piece of shit. You knew that I might watch this, and I pity my Manos chair. You literally put this in here. You 3-tap your Oct like a pussy little bitch, and then you come in here and you tap your Manos chair like this right in front of me. What am I, sitting in a cuck chair right now? You think I won't notice? You're my wife?
this, where you can repeat. Preferably group content, but solo content always will work on this and will still be beautiful. Other than, let's say, Altar of Blood example, I would say field bosses and world bosses. Those two are very dead content right now. Most of the players don't do most of the world bosses, and field bosses are just out of the window. Nobody does them. We could have them drop around 100 to 300 cornerstone each from the bosses or the field bosses and make them alive again. And people
Bro, holy shit. If every boss dropped 100 Cronstones.
will start hunting them again and actually bother with them. Now, for people,
That's still garbage. I still wouldn't go. I'm going to be honest. 100 Cronstones, I sleep. 300 Cronstones, I wake. All right? 100 Cronstones, I'm still not going to Vil. I don't give a shit. I'm still not going to Garmussi. Garmoth is worthless. You cannot convince me otherwise. That objective is completely worthless. Garmoth is just absolutely a waste of space.
PvP, I say
I'd go to Zerka for 100 crons. Yeah, one time.
give us the ability to earn Crown Stones from RBF. Now, before you start picking up pitchforks again, just one second.
Whoa! You can't reward PvP. You can't do that. Nope. Absolutely not. Jay! Jay! Yeah. He's trying to have fun with PvP. Yeah. Onizilla, that's the guy. Okay, hunt him down. Yeah. He'll be at your house shortly. Idiot.
RBF is in the gutter right now. And I have two options for that.
Did
Either
Chad
make
get
us earn
grounded?
Crown Stones from RBF. Every time you win an RBF, you earn Crown Stones. Let's say from 200 to 300 maybe. But that's only if you win.
Okay, so just show me the points that you have on the graph here. Only the top 5 kills earn crons for everyone in RBF. No, because people will win trade. Crons for everybody in RBF. I think that crons is a good idea in RBF. It's not going to happen.
Oh, I know you're mad. I know you're mad. I know you have endgame gear. You want more gear. Just one
Slow
second. What?
down gear releases. No. Well, yes. Yes, honestly, yes.
Second, please.
But, like, they need to give us, like... No. They do need to release some gear, right? Now, it was way too fast for a second. Like, Sovereign and Karazad came out at the same time. Way too fast.
Put down your...
And now all 4 armors are out way too quickly. We got... Guys, remember way back in the day? We got 1 armor at a time. Like, 1 armor a year for, like, 4 years. This time we got all 4 armors at the same time. It's crazy work.
What I meant by that is the tiers, you know, like if the next tier of Sovereign or the next tier of Idana or the next tier of Khazad. We need to slow down on that.
Stop talking about the next tier. I'm not even done with this tier.
They can still release
I don't have enough money.
more diverse gears, like stuff that aims at evasion, DR, accuracy, or any other bullshit.
What are all those things?
don't
I
think
only know
anybody
about
even
Adania.
mentioned it, but I think increasing enhancement rates from shitty 10 or 5% per upgrade to something more reasonable, or maybe increase the value of fail stacks above the cap so overstacking as an actual tactic might help the game a little bit.
No, you don't increase. No. You do not increase the enhancement rates on the gear because it will devalue everyone's hard work that put in like for that gear before you increase the enhancement rate. What you do is you decrease the Agris requirement, right? So the pity, like they did for Black Star, should be reduced tremendously to like a reasonable level. You gotta understand, the pity for deck Sovereign is like 3 or 4 times the average. It's insane. It's wild. Like, like they need to bring the aggro down, not increase the enhancement rate. The aggro needs to come down.
Release, that's totally fine. Diversity is beautiful. Everyone loves diversity except America. But we need to slow down on the big upgrades. That need to slow down by a lot for now. We need to let the new players catch up, mid players catch up, because
who in the is
for them
killing
is an
people at
absolute living hell.
Munchams?
Anyway, we need more stable progression and more fair catch-up systems. Like, players will actually stick around longer. Nobody minds grinding. We all love grinding in this game. It's Black Desert after all.
No,
But
you can't say that.
we need something that should make us feel like
We have to
our
pretend like we hate grinding while we do it 6 hours a day.
effort means something. We as players, we need something that's going to motivate us. You can't expect us to be motivated by a gear that's almost impossible to achieve unless I play thousands of hours or I pay to win. That's
I think that's fine.
But doesn't that also undervalue efforts of players who pitied shit at 80 tries or something?
No. If anything, that makes them feel like a real one. How many of you guys pitied a Black Star at like 50 attempts and you feel like you went through Vietnam and all these other kids, these kids, they walk downhill and there's not even snow on the ground anymore when they go to school, and you're like, I did it the real way. Like, straight up. Like, that's, I was, man, when I did it uphill both ways in the snow, bitch. You know what I'm saying? Marcus USA says, it's because a bunch of, with no life, we're complaining about no gear and no content in this game. PA decided to push new armors to silence a bunch of tards with no other life in BDO. No, Choice and Divio specifically told Jae-hee Kim and the rest of the dev team that in that meeting, they said stop releasing new content, and they said, we've heard you. And then they released 4 Adani armors at the next ball.
Months. Love.
And then they released 4 Adani armors at the next ball. So yeah, they don't give a shit what you have to say. Okay, realistically speaking, they don't give a fuck about you. All right. Now that being said, I love that people are like, guys, no, the gear. There's so many things we can do with the gear. We can do this. We can make grinding more meaningful. We can like slow down on gear like releases, or we can make it more meaningful in this way, that way. It's never been about the gear. God, I feel like the Joker. Like I literally feel like the Joker. And like it's like you say, you know, like I'm gonna release 4 pieces of Adani armor at the next ball, and nobody bats an eyelash. But if you say, we're gonna bring back PvP, everybody loses their mind. Okay? The reason that we all used to grind in this game is PvP. That's it. That's the bottom line. That's the truth. Okay? Everybody just loses their mind every time somebody says it. But like, that's just how it was. You weren't grinding because you were like super excited about like the end game grind. You were grinding so that you could get the gear, so that you could absolutely dumpster that Valkyrie that keeps walking on to your grind location and Eiffel Towering you with her lance. Okay? That's why you were grinding. Like that's just how it was. All right? You weren't grinding, and it didn't even have to be, you didn't even have to be in a PvP guild to do it. You were grinding because you were like, it was just a different perception. Like you were grinding because you walked to the grind zone and like you could defend your spot. It was like, it felt like a competition for resources, and you could compete. You could be competitive because you had gear, and you didn't have to be good at the game. That's why PvEers grinded. Is because they knew they weren't good at the game, or they were too scared to try PvP in general. But if they just have an ass amount of gear, as it turns out, it doesn't matter how good you are, because I'm gonna one-shot you with God Incinerator. Bitch! Okay? That's I swear to God, when that lawn lands again, I am gonna flip my glaver on. I'm gonna that bitch. You know what I mean? Like, that's what you were there for, all right? That's just how it was, all right? And like, for the rest of us, we would love the GVGs, and we would love the node wars and the sieges and the bonds that you made with your friends when you're going out and you're trying to defend your grind zones together. I can't tell you how many times that a buddy of mine and I, Note, when he started the game, we would go grind together, and we saw someone on the grind zone. It's flag and drag situation, bro. Like, you run them down. There's 2 of us and 1 of you, right? But now that doesn't exist. We've removed PvP from the equation, and now everybody is on the copium that there's all these different things that we can do to try to make the end game grind or the PvE shit feel more meaningful and get players excited about end game grind. I hate to be this guy. It will never be that way. The BDO progression, no amount of gear progression is ever going to substitute the reason that we were all grinding in the first place. That's just the truth, okay? And until they fix fundamentally what the end game of Black Desert Online is supposed to be, then there will be no reason to go continue grinding, okay? It used to be PvP. Right now, the reason why you don't feel motivated to go grind is not because, oh, they release gear too quickly, or you feel demotivated this, or there's so many cron stones that. Hot take. If there was an actual end game reason, like there was an end game raid, or there was some crazy group content in the end game that you had to have gear to go do, and it wasn't weekly gated bullshit, it was like grindable content that you could do with your friends, like, again, like a raid or like a bunch of dungeons that you could lead your friends through, like that kind of shit, you would grind, okay? And in most cases in BDO, because we have such a strong combat system, that end game thing was PvP. That was the thing that you were endlessly grinding for, and you would do it. You didn't give a shit. You never gave a shit. That's the thing. Before they took away PvP, people never complained about this, like endless grind shit. They were like that wasn't the problem. No one ever cared. Like the games, like more and more cron stones were coming. No one gave a shit because we would all just go out and grind for it anyway. It didn't matter what direction they went in with the gear, whether it was like, oh, we had build diversity or we don't have build diversity, or like the new end game stuff came out too soon, or it didn't come out fast enough, or whatever. Didn't matter. None of that shit mattered because we were all going to grind for it anyway because we needed it so that we could kill other people in PvP, or so that we could defend our grind zones, and so that we didn't have to PvP as frequently. Now you have removed PvP from the game, but you didn't replace it with anything else. If you want to remove PvP from your game and go in a different direction with your game, that's fine. But you got to replace the end game of the game with something different if you're going to keep people motivated in the long term, right? Because, like, what happens when a player does finish the game? Be honest. Once you're at a full deck Karazad, full deck Sovereign, and you're stuck at the weekly gated content, what is there to do? Because it used to be that you would take all that gear and you would go back up the homies in PvP. You'd ride around and you'd make sure that the rest of your guild that wasn't geared because they were poor, that they could keep grinding. You would just run around and you would defend them. Right? You were the homies that showed up. So you had something to do. Now you got nothing to do. And you wondering why. I grind to see silver go up. See you say that, but I think that represents a lack of understanding, like a deeper understanding of like why you're actually grinding, because that's not the real reason that you're grinding. Like you just don't understand the game enough or yourself enough yet to really understand the true motivation of why you're grinding. Normally people...
Hey girl! Hey girl!
Normally people, and I don't mean to single you out, brother, but normally when people say, I just grind to watch the silver number go up, or I just grind to watch the gear number grow up, are really grinding because they're incredibly depressed, or they have something going on in their personal life that is pushing them into the game, and really they want to play the game. Hell or high water, they don't care because it's an escape from reality, right? Like, so like you need to like get a grip on yourself and understand why you're really grinding, because the number doesn't mean anything to you. The silver could just not be there and you would still do it. It has nothing to do with what's in the game. But for those of us that do care about what's going on in the game, damn, bro, why so real? Because I've been through it. Because I've been there. I've been there like everybody else. And you lying right now. You saying you've been playing BDO for the last 8 years, 10 years, like I have. We've been through some shit, right, guys? We all go through our shit. I've been through some shit harder than a lot of people, but it's also not as hard as some people. Some people have it a lot worse than me, right? But we've all been through our shit, and BDO helps us get through that shit. And I can tell you right now, when I log into grind for like 8 hours, 10 hours, 15 hours of time, multiple days in a row, it's because some shit's going on. Right? Months in a row, years in a row like that, it gets you through it, man. That's the way that it goes. But for those of us that aren't motivated like that, that don't just need the escape like that, we're trying to get something out of the game. That's a lot of us are trying to get something out of the game.
Now, back in the day, Node Wars and Guild Wars were the heart of BDO. Massive guilds would fight each other constantly. War declaration made the game feel alive. You will go to a grind zone and you will almost always see two or...
Yeah, he's going to talk about the lack of meaningful PvP. We already know about all this, right? Like the guild decks and whatnot. And like, I've given my stance on this so many times. It's been the same start to finish. Perlibus could have just enforced their TOS and nothing had to change. As it is, there are no one-sided guild decks anymore. They're not coming back. They will never come back. I asked them in person at the Heidel Ball. It's never happening. Not if they have to shut the servers down. Are they ever going to try to bring that shit back? Okay? It's not happening. All right? Now, that doesn't mean that you can't have your open world GVGs back. I think that the best way to get open world GVGs back is to let the community handle what the community does best, which is chastising pussies for being pussies. If there were enough PvP guilds on the PvP scene, that if there was one PvP guild that was denying decks, like currently, in order to send a declaration of war, guys, both guilds have to consent to being in a guild war, okay, in a GVG. And what we have a problem with is we have these pussies that won't accept guild like GVG. They won't accept GVG invites, right, from PvP guilds. Right? If you're a PvE guild, you should never accept that shit. You're a life scaling guild, you don't accept that shit, right? But like the PvP guilds just aren't. They're like nah, ha, ha. So they talk a bunch of shit, and then they don't get. They f around, but they never find out. Okay, if there were enough guilds on the PvP scene, I do think that this problem would correct itself very quickly. I think that like if there were like 50 to 60 to 70 guilds on the PvP scene, what we would all do collectively is if one guild was being a piece of shit, talking shit, but then never accepting decks, we would just like physically destroy their ability to play the game as a community. We would never let them node war ever again. You don't get to be in fights. You don't get to be in siege. We're not gonna let you do anything. You get no content. You get zerged off immediately. You get no fun until you start accepting war decks. And I think that the community could easily do that because people will quit your guild. If you can't get a fight or people zerg you for a long enough time, at first it's all fun and games. Haha, they zerged us once. Okay, they zerged us twice. Okay, they zerged us 3 times. They're so mad. And then by the 9th, 10th, 11th time, it's not funny anymore. And then they start getting mad. But they don't get mad at the other guilds. They're going to get mad at their own leadership cores. So they're going to turn the knife on their own leadership cores. And then they all leave. They all leave, and the guild dies. Okay, I know. I've led these guilds, but I've led guilds before, and I used to kill guilds doing the same thing. Easy, because I used to be the one that set up the fights. You don't want to play by the rules. You don't want to be reasonable. No problem. You don't get to play the game, and neither does your guild. That's how you enter find out phase. You want to f around, you're gonna find out. So I do think that we could get like guild decks back in that culture back in the game, but it would require a tremendous amount of injection of PvP players to the BDO PvP scene, right? Like you need a like at least probably 500 to 1,000 players to be injected into the PvP scene proper in order to get the amount of guilds required to reach that point where we could have GVGs again and properly punish guilds that didn't want to play by the rules. And I just don't think they're never gonna like fix PvP to a point that that's actually gonna be a thing, and that's the biggest problem, right? So it's cooked. It is in fact cooked. They're never gonna give us back 2-hour node wars because they have this delusional idea that 1-hour node wars is what people want. They're never gonna lower alliances because they think that bigger alliances is a good thing. In fact, they might raise alliances. They might raise alliances from 150 man to like 300 because they think in their eyes that's like a good thing to do. These people are delusional. It's everything that you think about the game and your opinion as a player, as a consumer, think the opposite. That's what our devs think. And the reason is they're not PvPers. Our devs do not PvP at all whatsoever. They're not in PvP circles. They're not in these communities. They're not in these guilds. And they don't understand why PvPers behave the way that they do. Like, they just don't. Okay? Like, they can't grasp it.
More guilds having it at each other. It made the game feel alive. It made the game have a soul.
So I'm just curious what his thoughts on
have a-
fixing PvP are.
Okay, enough of me looking down memory lane, and let's see how we can fix this. Now, first thing we need to do is we need to bring back meaningful war incentives. We need better rewards for participating.
Nope. Wrong again. This is a choice take. This is a choice take. Like, this is stupid shit. This is people that just don't understand. I'm sorry, buddy. I love you to death, Oni. But, like, this is people that don't understand. Again, people that don't inherently understand PvPers. You don't have a pulse on what PvPers really want. Okay? You don't. Okay? And I can very easily break this argument down. Your argument is that we should have better PvP rewards, which sounds great on paper. Fantastic. Yeah, woo, that'll get more people to do it. No, it will not. Case in point. Rewind the clock 4 years. Rewind the clock 4 years. When you went to Siege, did you make money or did you lose money at Siege? Chat, tell me right now. Anyone that used to do Siege 4 years ago, did you make money at Siege or did you lose money at Siege? That's right. You lost every time. You lost money like crazy. And you know what? Nobody gave a shit. No one cared. We lost billions of silver because the thing that we were getting out of the PvP is objectively shitting on the enemy guilds. That's why we're there. We don't give a about the rewards. The reward is going into Discord after it and lighting up the T1 hub or lighting up the Node War hub going, yo, where was your guild tonight, dipshit? Nice one, pussies. Bro, the memes, like the shit talk, the I'm better than you, our guild is better. Like that was what you get out of PvP. That's what you get out of PvP. You did not get rewards. You didn't do it for the silver. You didn't do it for the money. You did it because it was about sending a message. Fundamentally. Welcome to the Thunderdome. Like, that's what you were doing. That's what we want. So all of these people, I'm sorry, but I'm going to call them out by name. Choice, Divios, and every single other person that led the charge on this on we need better PvP rewards. You are directly, all of you are directly at fault for our current predicament because they listened to you. Good job. We have better rewards in PvP. Nice work. We have better rewards in our Node War than we've ever had, period. We have better rewards in RBF than we've ever had, period. We have better rewards in Siege than we've ever had, period. We had better rewards in our hardcore servers than we ever had for any PvP ever. How did hardcore servers go? How did that go? Huh? Rewards don't matter. It's not about the money. It's about sending a message. You grind for hundreds to thousands of hours so that you can send that message loud and clear. That's why you grind. You grind to make the money. You PvP to lose money and send the message. That's all it was about. That's all it has ever been about. It's about sending the message. And these people, again, like it's the same people that, like, I swear to God, people try to tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, or like, oh, Blue doesn't know anything about PvP, or Blue doesn't know. He's so disconnected with the PvP scene, whatever. I know more about being a PvPer than anyone else does. Because I have been every single PvPer. I've been a cannoneer. I've been a flex lead. I've been a shot caller. I've been a guild lead. I've been a defense lead. I've been a flex lead. I've been a normal member. I have been a flanking assassin. I've been a frontline. I've been a backline. I've been a tank. I've been everywhere. I've been a bruiser. I've been all of it. I've done all of it. Okay. I know what it's like to put myself in these shoes, and I've been in all of these guilds. I was in for the number 2 guild on the server all the way down to the worst guild on the server. And then I took the worst guild on the server and I made them one of the best guilds on the server. And I've been everywhere in between. I've been in all these spaces and I've done it for years. Okay. I know more about how PvPers think and why they do the way that the things that they do than most other players do. I just understand it fundamentally. People who scratch the surface and pretend to understand what PvPers want. Most of the time, it's some endgame PvPer who's like, well, we need to get new players invested into PvP. So how do we do that? Well, honestly, they only really do things for rewards. No, they don't. That is an out of touch take. Okay, from somebody that is so disconnected from the reality of being a new player that they have forgotten what it's like. Okay, I have led new and returning player guilds that encourage people to PvP. Not a single new player joined one of my guilds so that they could make silver. Okay? None of them. 0. Okay? Does not happen. Okay? Now, if making silver happens, that's great. But new players don't get involved in PvP because they want to make silver. They get involved in PvP because they want to play the game with other people. That's the reason. They want to make friends. They want to get involved in a community. Like proactively. They want to get better at PvP themselves. So they surround themselves with other like-minded people. And so they jump into the guild. And it doesn't matter that they're losing money. They don't care. New players their question is, how much is Node War really going to cost me? Their question is, okay, boss, what consumables do I need for Node War? They don't give a shit about how much it costs. And they make less silver per hour than I do as a veteran player. They don't care. They want to be part of the team. They want to contribute. Okay? These people, they just do not understand what it's like to be a new player, what it's like to be a mid-game player. They think that players only respond to rewards. No, dude, no. First, the content must be good, and then you can buff the rewards and make the content better. But the rewards mean nothing if the content is garbage. Case in point, hardcore servers. Hardcore servers, garbage content because they refuse to allow you to play the class that you want to play. Okay, well, the rewards are the best we've ever seen. The rewards were the best we ever saw. Yet, hardcore servers were the largest failure in probably the history of BDO. One of the largest failures. Not the largest. We've had a lot of big failures. But that was one of the largest PvP failures we've seen in years. And it would have been much more successful had they just listened to the community, but isn't that always the case? That's always the case. But don't worry, the rewards were really good. Thanks, Choice. Thank God. We had our top BDO partners advocating that we get better rewards in PvP. Because, newsflash, the people getting the best rewards are the people winning the PvP. Do you think the new players are the ones that are winning PvP? No, they're not. They're getting Eiffel Towered by Choice and Divios and every other person. They are literally just getting pegged down the whole time. They are participants, okay? Participants. Rewards don't mean shit. Holy. I've never seen it, bro. I just don't, you just, look at some of these people, and I'm only really using Choice because he leads he led the charge on the whole thing. But, I like Choice, but, god damn it, dude. It was such an egregious mistake. Because, it was oh, we really wanted to focus on things that they could fix in the short term and, little things that they could fix and not try to go for big sweeping changes. Well, congratulations. You're the only ones that were able to speak with them, and they listened to you. Good. And how much has that done for the PvP scene? We're worse off now than we were a year ago. Great job. Great work. Nice job. Good meeting. Good meeting. Super effective. If you had just, like, that's why, again, you need somebody, if you're going to get into a meeting with Jae-hee Kim, and he's actually going to sit down with you and listen to what you have to say, you need someone that is brutally efficient at telling them what the real problem, the real root cause of the issue is in the PvP community. And we sent pussies. And to be clear, it's still the devs' fault. So yeah, am I mad that we literally said that everybody points the finger at better PvP rewards? Holy shit. No one cares about PvP rewards. It's immediately, the argument is immediately dismantled. If you've done any PvP at all for the last 3 or 4 years, the last 8 years, if you've done PvP, how many of us have all done PvP in the last 8 years and we lost money? And we had fun doing it, more fun than we have today, and you make more money today. All of us. We had more money. We lost tremendous amounts of silver back then. Had way more fun. It's just the truth. The rewards don't matter. The rewards do not matter. If the content is good, then we can talk about rewards. But if the content is not good, the rewards will never amount to anything because no one's going to do it. No one's going to do it. Like, I appreciated that, like, Choice and Divios went and they tried to take it really seriously and they made this Google Doc and they talked about it. They took it seriously. I did appreciate that. But they completely missed it. They completely missed the plot on the whole thing. And, like, you can't expect them to nail it, right? It wasn't on their shoulders. The devs should be in touch on this. They should. It's still on the developers. Like 90% it's still on the devs. But, like, the reason I freak out when I see this is because, again, we have somebody else that just misunderstands because you're regurgitating what you've been told by the other streamers. Like, you're not thinking about it critically. You need to think about the PvP. Like we've all just been taught this, like, linear line of thinking. You need to be able to look at the PvP scene as a whole and see if things track. Like, will better rewards actually help PvP? Right? And if you think about that for more than, like, 30 seconds to 2 minutes, you realize that no, as I very easily disproved, right? It's not really going to help. Now, better PvP rewards will help PvP if the PvP is first good, right? If the content is really good and then you add rewards to it, well, then great. But if the PvP content is bad, it doesn't matter how good the rewards are. They could be offering 6 bill a night. Nobody's going to do it because you got to win. It's just not going to work. So it's ultimately on the developers because they're so out of touch with what makes PvP fun. They do not understand what makes PvP fun for PvPers, like for the PvP community. They do not understand what PvPers want. They think that PvPers want rewards because that is what the front of our community told them, right? And they were at a complete loss. Before this, they were like, they had tried a bunch of shit, didn't work. Just couldn't make it work. Couldn't make it work. Then they keep trying shit. They buffed, I mean, since they talked to it, they buffed RBF rewards, they buffed Node War rewards, they buffed, like, the hardcore servers had insane rewards, like Siege rewards have been increased. All of this stuff has been increased. AOS rewards have been buffed tremendously. Nobody cares. Less people PvPing. Doesn't matter. Right? Because we've just lost sight of what PvPers want in the first place. They don't understand. They don't get it. It's about the ego. It's about the mental of being, we're men in a very primal way. The BDO community is made up of a lot of men. Okay, and that includes most of our women, if I'm being honest. And that being said, men are extremely competitive. All right, we are just competitive by nature. All right, and our PvPers are our most competitive men. And what do competitive men want to do? They want to beat other men at competitions. You compare it to things like sports, right? This is like a microcosm of what you see happening in, like, actual IRL sports. Okay, men want to compete with each other. And the most competitive men do PvP, and they're put head to head against other men, and they want to show everyone else that they're the alpha, that they're better It's an ego thing, right? And they also want to show on a much more like medieval, like Lord of the Rings style fantasy that like they want to be the riders of Rohan. Okay, they want to ride in with the boys who are also proven alphas. Like they want to ride in with the other alphas and they want to ride through these godforsaken shithole dog water bottom feeding cardboard box level players and just run them the over like fields of grass. Okay, they have this fantasy about the shot caller leading them to this sick victory where they're shot calling there's the shot caller, then they're all performing, everybody's getting this big kill feed and they're waiting through it because it's like a medieval battle. They're a soldier in a medieval battle, which goes back to men. What do men fantasize about? Sacrificing ourselves for the greater good, being the hero, like being the alpha male. That's what we want to do. How many of us have listened to music and you're listening to some badass music, it's like 2 Steps from Hell or something, and you're imagining yourself doing some crazy super sick shit, like whether it's BDO and you're doing some montage and you're making some big play, or it's IRL and you've got yourself in this crazy circumstance, whatever. That's what men fantasize about on a regular basis. Okay, like that's what we want to do.
Or winning in Node War, in Red Battlefield, in Arena of Solar, is it Solar or Solari, whatever, and in Guild League. And game players right now making up to 4 billion silver an hour. So it makes no sense why someone who is PvPing either NCAP
True,
PvP
brother.
or even Arena of Solari at this point, not making anything above 1.5 billion silver, if not 2 billion silver. PvP should net a player at least 2 billion silver an hour. Second, we need to introduce new PvP content and mods beyond just Node Wars and Guild League. We need something like the hardcore server back. We need something like Shadow Arena back. Things that
Shadow Arena was obscenely good at getting people into PvP. It was really good content that also offered good rewards. Holy shit. Hardcore servers, look at this. We need hardcore servers back. This is his best clip, by the way. This is his best clip from hardcore servers. You'll notice that he's like, we need hardcore servers back. This doesn't have a single clip of him actually fighting somebody. He's rank 11. Oh, you guys can't see it. He's rank 11.
either incentivize.
Hardcore servers are very poorly executed, but I think actually ultimately could be a really good thing. If they just add all of the playable classes in the game and allow us to all play what we want to play, I think that hardcore servers could be absolutely super sick. Especially if you have like a ranking for like the best Dark Knights and the best Berserkers and the best like Megus and the best Wusas, right? Like you could have like rankings for all of them. People would love that. People would play that.
Incentivize players to either team up in Shadow Arena
And like, because it's already got good rewards.
or fight each other in hardcore server, grind and fight each other. Sure, some people were just doing the daily, but that's the freedom of choice and people are free to do whatever they want. That's why it was nice. You were free to either do your daily and get the out or do your daily and go fight people. Alright, now this one gonna be a bit of a stolen idea from Throne and Liberty. I didn't really play the game, but I did see this idea on one of the
Hey
streams and I really
boys,
liked it.
this
Well,
is Jay just dropping by to say you will never get your PvP back.
Thanks for the reminder, Jay. I like he's taking a page out of the Throne and Liberty book. I do think that Throne does a lot of things about PvP correctly. There's a lot of things they do incorrectly too, but the systems themselves are really good.
I saw it in the game and I really liked it. There is this dungeon in Throne and Liberty. When you enter it, I believe at night, there's an open PvP where everybody can just fight each other. We need that in BDO, but we need it in certain zones where, you know, certain zones have...
They could just turn on PvP for certain grind zones at night. Honestly, all grind zones. Night becomes no karma loss PvP at grind zones, but you also get 100% drop rate. Crazy. But I'm going to be honest with you. Still doesn't really fix it. It still doesn't fix it. You could do that, and it still would not fix the fundamental issue with open world PvP. The reason open world PvP was fun before was because you could get like small groups from your guild, like your buddies could come help you defend your grind zone and stuff. And until you have the competitiveness back in PvP, like there's a reason to compete with other people, you will still just never have PvP in the game.
Increased either the drop rate or increased chance for certain items,
But it would help.
or better agri
It would help.
consumption, or like something.
Dude, I
Motivate
just
players
lost
to get
my
up in that zone.
cap!
But that zone is open PvP. It's a straight up harvest. Let them farm each other there while granting the mobs.
I
and
lost
the
my
mobs
cap.
doesn't kill
Now I
them.
gotta
That's
drink this
important
whole thing.
PvE on PvP crystals.
Fuck.
Something like that will be an amazing addition to BDO, especially how open world BDO is. It will be beautiful. Now I understand some of you will come and say, oh, but guilds can abuse it, this and that, and there's always a workaround. They can make this area, you can't make a party in it, and if you are from the same guild members, you can kill each other, and they can also make the names like, unknown adventurer type thing. Like, there is so many workarounds. There's no excuse for our devs to be lazy. And the last one for PvP is
Like
it's one of the
sucking a
hardest
golf
things to
ball
achieve, but
through
I
a
don't think
garden
it's
hose.
gonna ever happen in BDO, and that is class balance. Now, the reason I'm mentioning class balance is not because the classes are, striker being on top or berserker or all that. I mentioned it because there is an insane issue with DR on some classes that need to be fixed.
No one cares about class balance. Holy shit. That's the hottest take, I understand. Now I care about class balance. Nope. Doesn't matter. No one cares about PvP class balance unless there's a PvP game mode to actually use your class in that is competitive and fun. When is the only time that class balance is ever an issue? AOS. Because it's ranked.
Just resubscribed
And
for
it's fun.
59 months.
People will complain about it for large scale PvP here and there, but it doesn't really matter. Like, they don't really care. Unless large scale PvP is really fun, in which case they care a lot more, right? If the PvP game mode is fun, then class balance matters. But if there is no fun PvP, then no one cares about class balance. They can balance till they're blue in the teeth. They could get every class perfect. No one would care. In fact, people would bitch about that.
Some classes are just stupidly tanky. For some reason,
Yeah, some classes are stupidly tanky. I had somebody reach out to me recently that said that hash isn't really all that tanky with evasion. You have to build, like, evasion is like a meme beyond 840. And I was like, no, it's not. Like I said, beyond like 840 gear score, you need to have both evasion and DR. So they're both important. And they were like, no. They were like, no, you only build DR no matter what. Which, I'll be honest with you, is a fair take. You can't just build evasion and be okay, right? You can't just be full evasion and be okay. You can, however, build full DR and be okay on anything. But if you build both, especially on an evasion class, you will never die, ever, for any reason.
still have the magic DR on the gauntlet classes, which makes no sense. My guess is the devs forgot that thing exists. Some classes absolutely can't do PvP anymore, especially group PvP, because PA decided to butcher those classes, while others are just jumping in the middle of a platoon, getting 2, 3, 5 kills and leaving. Yes, I'm looking at you, that you disgusting shit. So yeah, there is still a lot of class issues and class balances, specifically Sage still being broken as and Awakening Dracania literally can't do any PvP content other than 1v1 and still get dogged on. But we're not here for that. We're here for the DR issue. Like, this issue affects everyone.
I love that the devs, honestly, the thing that bothers me about class balance is the devs keep saying, how many times have they said to us, we know about the DR problem. We know that classes are too tanky. Here's another buff to Succession Berserker. But we know it's a problem. Here's another buff to Succession. Crazy. It's wild.
They need to somehow change the DR on some classes, or
I don't get it.
do something with the
and
DR
they never do anything to like take steps to fix it. Like recently they were like, we're gonna limit the amount of like crystals that you can have wherever and then we're all just like the irrelevant crystals. Like the bitterness weren't even addressed. The biggest problem with tankiness is that the frozen crystal of bitterness, okay, and crystals in general give you way too much like stat line. There's way too many stats going on. Make frozen crystal of bitterness only PvE applicable. Only monster DR. Done. Look at that. I fixed a crazy amount of... Look at that. Holy shit. Everybody just got like way less tanky. Wow. It took me what? 30 seconds. 15 seconds. What are we talking about? Then you can do the same thing for light stones. Right? Like light stones and artifacts and stuff are also... Like the light stone setups are adding way too many stats to people, making them way too tanky.
Like, I don't think they have any other options than those two. Now let's talk about pay to win in Black Desert. It's more of a money versus time type of subject. Black Desert has always been a pay to win game. You can never deny that. I've been playing the game for, 9 years now, and I always seen the pay to win in the game. Back then, our pay to win used to be convenience items, like weight limits, pets, inventory slots, maybe an outfit or two, maybe a flute, a horse flute, maybe something.
Pay to convenience is pay to win.
Dramatar just resubscribed
Obviously.
for 7 months. Keep it up, Baldy.
Any logical person can come to this conclusion. If we both spend the same amount of time on the game, and I have a tent and you don't, my time is going to be worth more than your time because I'll be able to grind for longer for a higher drop rate. Suck my penis nuts. Convenience.
Very a convenient item, you get me? But now you can literally, and I mean literally, swipe your way through progression. Now, what do I even mean by that? Okay, the game...
What are we watching? Everything Wrong with Black Desert in 2025. I have disagreed with him and I have agreed with him on certain points.
I think, and for the past, maybe this year, always having outfits on insane sales, which results in chromestones. Then they also...
Is your Mystic naked right now? Is she even wearing a top? Who cares?
Adding...
I care. Because I, as a reformed person, think that your Mystic is a strong, independent woman who should not be sexualized. And I am concerned that certain members of my audience are currently sexualizing that garbage trunk, that garbage truck of a behind she's got going on right there.
Gamba boxes. Now, these Gamba boxes also result in either an insane amount of outfits or chromestones. Now, these Gamba boxes, they always say on it limited time, which is funny because they're always there. They never go away. They never actually go away. But what I mean by all of these is you get a whole lot of chromestones from those. And what you can do with that is you pretty much spending money to skip the grind. The more you spend money, the more you skip the grind.
Yep.
And that's the sad truth about BDO right now. The pay to win in it. You don't have to grind if you have the money for it.
True. No arguments. Yep. Agree. Just thought it was relevant. Anyway.
Now, how do we fix pay to win? This one is a bit hard. So just bear with me a bit, please. Make chromestones easier to earn through gameplay. We already mentioned that before, so we're gonna just, dish that.
I am reformed. As long as I don't say it, right? I'm good. I'm a good boy.
The only thing that can come to my mind and not destroy pay to win at all, because of course I don't want to destroy the lives of...
Didn't this hit like an oct earlier in 4 attempts? Then he hit his Manos chair in like 7.
Of our lovely whales is balance the grind zones so players who invest time can keep up with players who invest money, So instead of someone who's wasting an hour of his grind, making his life, that hour of his life worth only, $6, I think? Make it worth 12, make it worth 16, make it worth something. Like, honestly, the only real fix is to bring back balance. Make sure players who invest time can still keep up with players who invest money. But... because right...
Nah. I don't think that's necessarily going to help. I'm going to be real. I have a hot take. I don't think that anyone gives a shit. Anyone that plays BDO regularly doesn't care about pay to win. Like 98% of us knew what we signed up for in the first place. And like we aren't under any delusion that it's a problem. In fact, when they see me spend money on the game, like when I was spending money like a shitload, they felt more validated not having spent money on the game. Thank you for funding the servers so that I can play for free like a degenerate. I don't think that people care. No one gives a shit. And like, again, the incessant cron grind is a serious problem in the game. It is, right? And you can just skip it with pay to win, but that's always kind of been the case, right? That's always kind of been the case. Now, it's a lot easier nowadays than it was like 4 years ago. You'd have to spend $50,000, $60,000 in order to get to like end game gear. And nowadays, you know, you can spend a lot less than that and get to end game gear. But like, you know, it is what it is.
Right now, it feels like the game rewards your wallet more than your effort, honestly. And that's
Oh,
like
it
the sad
does.
truth. No matter how you look at it,
Bro, what the dude? Look. Bro.
your wallet more than your effort, honestly. And that's like the sad truth. No matter how you look at it, that's what the game is doing right now. But it's always in the end, you know, like with these MMOs, it's a battle of money versus time. And the sad part, we all know which one is winning. It should not be that way though. Time should matter just as much as money, if not more. But what do I know, man? I'm just a broke boy. There are
Same. This month. Now that being said, I think that the grind in BDO is an issue, and the pay to win is an issue because it's gotten way, way overly monetized as of recent. He does make an excellent point. Most people don't give a shit, but it is a glaring issue with the game. And again, after it hits a certain point, it becomes kind of like a mobile game. Like at a certain point, players are going to start asking themselves, why am I grinding for $1 an hour? What effectively amounts to $1 an hour when I could just buy, like, if you guys think that the like exclusive like battle pass packs or like whatever, like hot time deals that they just don't exist yet, they're coming. I guarantee you they're coming. Soon it'll be like, you know, you spend $10, you get a certain amount of reward, right? You know how these mobile games are. You spend $10, you get a certain amount of reward. And the less money you spend, the more rewarded you are, believe it or not. And that's predatory to try to get you to spend more money, right? So like the $100 is going to be worth a lot less, right? You're only going to get $150 worth of value out of the $100 pack, but you'll get $30 worth of value out of the $10 pack. So you're like, oh shit, I should probably do that, right? I should probably do that. And that gets you spending these microtransactions. It's a mental thing. They're trying to get you to come back and spend money on the game to do that. This is coming. This is coming. And this is how mobile games this is how mobile games monetize their game. This is the direction that BDO is headed in. So like, yes, you might not care about the fact that BDO is pay to win. I don't really care that much either. But I didn't for years, even before I paid to win, right? But there is a certain point where if they monetize it too much and if there's too much pay to win, it completely de-incentivizes every reason to even play the game. And then you should just spend the 20 or 30 bucks to get 50 billion silver and just move on with your life, right? Like at a certain point, you're like, spend $20, make 100 billion silver, right? And you think that that's a crazy number, right? Like there's no way you could spend $20 and make 100 bill. Oh, you wait. It's coming. It's coming. And I guarantee if I asked the audience genuinely, if you were sitting behind the computer screen right now and I asked you, hey, would you spend $20 on 100 billion silver? Or would you rather go grind the 50 hours that it's going to take you to get that? I would say that the vast majority of people are going to spend the $20. That's where we're headed. That's where we're headed. And that's dangerous. That's very dangerous. So you might not care about pay to win, but it will. And to be clear, it'll be presented as a flavor of the month deal. It'll be FOMO. It'll be like, oh, you got to buy it now. You got to buy it right now or it's going to go away. Oh, you're going to lose your value. It's already here. It's already here. How many people bought the 1+1 boxes? What happens when they start giving out 1+1+1 boxes? And y'all wondered, oh, Blue, aren't you going to buy the 1+1 box? No way you're not going to buy the 1+1 box. No, I didn't buy the 1+1 box. I haven't spent money in like 2 months now. I'm not going to spend any money in November either. No Pearl November. We talked about this. No Pearl November. Don't give a shit. I don't like what they're doing with the game. I don't like what they're advertising about the game. I don't like the direction that they're headed, and they refuse to listen to the community. So I just stop spending money. And when I stop spending money, it hurts them much, much worse than pretty much anyone else. If I stop spending money, I demonstrate to my community, which is the largest in the Black Desert space, that I'm not happy with the game, so I'm not going to spend money. How many other people then don't spend money on the game because I didn't spend money on the game? It matters. And how many people do spend money on the game when they see me swipe for all my gear and they say, well, shit, I should do that. How much money did Pearl Abyss make off of me getting my gear wheel? Because I sure as hell wasn't the money that I gave them. I got to sit here and make the example. So I'm going to make the example. So I'm just going to sit here. I'm not spending a single dime until I see the changes in the game that I want to see. October, November, December could come and go. I don't give a shit. I'm not buying it. I don't care what outfits they come out with. I don't care if there's some crazy 1+1 deal. I don't care if the fishing rod catches girls' panties in the water. I don't care. I don't care. I'm not happy with the direction of the game. The only thing that these people will listen to is your wallet. That's it. They will only listen to the amount of money that you're willing to spend on the game. So, problem solved. Just don't spend money.
A few more points, but I don't really have the time to put everything all together. And yeah, that's pretty much everything wrong with BDO in my opinion. The game is still amazing. I still love the game, but I do feel it being held back by the same old issues. The gear gap, the PvP, the pay to win, and the lack of real group content. And then though it kinda feel like we are talking to a brick wall. Yeah, anyway, let me know what you think is wrong with the game, or if you disagree with me on something. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. It's time for me to go back AFK fishing.
Oh my god, bro. It just recommended my own stream to me. That's insane. All right. I think this was a great video. I fundamentally disagreed with some of these things, and then I fundamentally did agree with some of these things. But it was definitely worth the watch, for sure. I encourage, as always, I encourage people to comment on the video, whether it be my react on YouTube or on his video directly. Obviously, go like, comment on his video here. I'm going to paste it there because that's the only way that we can get Pearl Abyss to listen. That and not spending money. It's just the truth. That's where we're at. That's where we're at. It's sad, but that's where we're at. If they come, if they listen to us, we get a good Calpheon ball, we turn that shit back around. They don't listen to us, I'd say, honestly, their profit margin tanks to like, I don't know, 50% of where it's at right now. They're going to learn today. They'll make a lot of money on Crimson Desert for about 2 months.